right, this might be considered a slop video by the time it comes out. We'll have to see what happens with this, but I'm making this video Friday, May 16th, 2025. And as of now, it looks like the Supreme Court has blocked Trump from restarting the Alien Enemies Act deportations. So, I've talked about this in the past, about Trump's overall goals with deportations. What is he going to realistically be able to achieve? Yada, yada, yada. And a lot of it, as I've stated, I don't think it's because of the law or whatever. It's more based on Trump's will, because he's been through this, we've been through this with the first term. He knows what the swamp is. He's talked about it. They damn near tried to kill him last year, right? So, all that being said, he knows the game, and will he cross the Rubicon? I'm trying to think of a cool title for this video, but yeah, I also have to kind of tread lightly for YouTube, because again, not advocating for anything YouTube, not advocating for anything crazy. So don't worry yourself too much. But before I get into that, my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. If you like this content, if you have enjoyed this content, this resurgence of content that I've been making over the last couple of weeks, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Like the videos, and comment down below. And I appreciate all the support that I've received thus far. Some of your comments recently actually were, especially on that God video. Actually, I made a video about God, titled, the thumbnail said, "Where is God?" And it actually has done decently well, which is warms my heart. Actually, it was the one video I was like, you know what, if I make this, I'm gonna be called like a Christ cuck. Everyone's gonna like crap on it. Not that I care about that, but it's just like I know how Christianity is viewed in the modern world to various camps. But I was pleasantly surprised, so I might make more videos in line of that, but not today. So I have an article by CNN up here, just because this is kind of like breaking news, and I wanted to let the video get in a little bit. I don't know how the YouTube thing works, so I've like talked to some people about this. Apparently, like after a certain amount of time in the video, you can start talking about certain things and YouTube won't flag it or whatever. I think it's like something like 8 minutes or something crazy, but I'm still gonna have to just like kind of censor myself. So, especially when it comes to this, like anything to do with race, I've noticed that specific topic, you really have to tread water. So this is deportations, but it's a CNN article, and like always, I'll link the article down below if you guys want to check this out. It's obviously going to be heavily leftist biased, but I don't care, because I already know what's going on, so I'll just kind of like give you my commentary as we read it. Yeah, like I said, this video's title alone will kind of give it away, because I'm going to title it something clever, like, "Will Dawn Cross the Rubicon?" Something like that. In fact, that might actually be it right there. That might be it. Because I've been talking about this in previous videos. I've been talking about this even before I started making videos again with friends. Last year, I actually worked in politics for majority of the year. And so I kind of cut my teeth, you could say. I got to see a little bit of what's going on in the country. But as you guys might have known, I don't know if I've talked about this before, I'm not a big democracy believer in general. I don't really think that, for one, I don't think that's how society can functionally be run, but I also don't even believe that that's how society is run right now. We're being run by an oligarchy right now with the illusion of choice, as I've talked about many times in my past videos about dialectics. One of the false dialectics we're presented with today is that we have some kind of choice in who we vote for. And so I'm saying all that to say, like, I don't subscribe to this. However, Trump did, according to every metric of democracy, win a historic mandate in November 2024 when he won the election against Kamala Harris. And what was that historic mandate? One of the biggest issues, again, I worked politics last year. I literally campaigned on this, talked to people about it. One of the biggest issues was deportations. In fact, that was pretty much the only reason that I voted for Donald Trump. I actually did vote just for fun, even though, I don't really believe in it that much. Also worked in politics to get the word out, but that was really the number one thing I heard from a lot of people, even boomers, is that we need to start deporting, right? Close the border is the way that boomers will word it to be more politically correct, right? They'll say things like, I don't care if they immigrate, I just need them to immigrate legally. I'm not a racist, but... I'm not a racist, but... The typical boomer line. So, with all that said, I'm kind of just saying this to say that Trump has a historic mandate right now to deport. So why in the hell is he letting judges, right? Okay, so most of these judges are Biden-era judges. In this case, it's the Supreme Court, but still, I've argued in the past. Again, I'm advocating for anything here, YouTube, nothing violent, blah, blah, blah. I've advocated in the past, though, that we're at the point now where we are already in a banana republic. We've been in a banana republic since 2020, probably longer. We're just aware of it in 2020. Sorry, my throat's kind of bugging me right now. Found my water. So yeah, we're in a banana republic. We've been in a banana republic probably, I'd say, since Bush, if you're really studying it, because there was some of that fishy stuff that went on in the Florida election, but we've only been really aware of it since 2020. And I don't really care what anyone says. I've read several books. There's 2 books on my shelf. One of them's called Rigged by Hemingway, and the other one's called Our Broken Elections. Both of those books are worth reading if you guys are interested in this, but the bottom line is there's tons of evidence that the election was stolen in 2020. So it's not even controversial anymore. Dinesh D'Souza made a documentary about it. So it's not really a controversial thing to say. And so since that is the case, that essentially means our entire function of government, right? The republic, the way government functions, it's all kind of illegitimate right now. And so if Trump was a serious leader, he would cross the Rubicon, because right now he's letting these judges, and I didn't mention, but a lot of these judges were appointed by Biden, which, what I just said, if Biden is a fraud, that means everything he did is a fraud, so you should just ignore it and move on. Trump has the mandate of the people. The people voted for me. I'm going to deport. I'm going to get rid of all of them. I'm not going to do it. The people are telling me that I should do it. I'm going to send them to a nice place. I'm going to give them $1,000. I'm going to put them on a plane. I'm going to send them wherever they want to go, but they can go anywhere, but they can't go here, okay? There's my best Trump for the day for you guys. But yeah, he has a mandate. He has a massive mandate, and this has been bothering me for a while. I haven't really made a video yet on this specifically, but he's letting these judges, and I know this is the Supreme Court, but again, if we're in an illegitimate government, you should just ignore all of this. Now again, I'm making this video on the 16th. By the time you watch this video, there might have already been a response. Trump himself has already talked about with Stephen Miller that they're actually talking, like they're having like backroom talks about suspending habeas corpus, which basically will mean that he can just ignore the courts, which is what he should do. This is what Lincoln did. There's already a precedent for this. Lincoln did this in the Civil War. This is how he was able to basically like invade the South. So there's actual presidential precedent for this already. This is not like something that is, I'd say it's radical, but given our circumstances, it's not unprecedented. And I mean, I don't even, in the past presidencies, if you went back to Lincoln's day, like this wouldn't even be a question. They would have already been doing it. For one, these immigrants wouldn't even be here in the past, but yeah, we'll see. Is he going to cross the Rubicon? But I've given you my 10-minute intro, and now I'm going to actually go over the article. So thank you if you're sticking with me. Again, my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. Like this if you're liking it. And subscribe, comment, the usual. Thank you. But yeah, we'll go over this. Like I said, the article is titled "Supreme Court Blocks Trump from Restarting Alien Enemies Act Deportations." So what the Democrats' plan, from what I read, is they just want to keep stalling this. And this is where if Trump doesn't start doing something, he's going to basically not do anything. Because they're just going to stall him like this until his presidency's over. And then it's like, okay, we kept all the Biden immigrants. Like, we don't have to do anything, right? It's over. So, it says the Supreme Court on Friday blocked President Donald Trump from moving forward with deportations under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act for a group of immigrants in northern Texas, siding with the Venezuelans who feared they were. And CNN's going to use this flowery language. They always do this. We've talked about propaganda in the past. They're going to try to prey on your emotions and make you feel bad, right? They'll show you these photos of them crying, and this is all par for the course, right? So it says, siding with Venezuelans who feared they were poised for imminent removal under the sweeping wartime authority. Oh, it's so scary. But yeah, I guess this is just particular to the northern Texas Venezuelans, but this is happening all over the country. And the judges in general are blocking him, and then the Supreme Court, what they're probably going to do is they're going to like give him some and not give him some. But the ultimate goal of this is to stall Trump, possibly till just the midterms, because I mean he could just lose everything in the midterms. And again, this is if he keeps just following the status quo and not realizing what's going on here, which again we'll see. This is why I'm not like completely critical. I've been probably more critical of Trump than positive. I'm a black pillar, like a lot of these right-wingers would say, because I didn't completely buy into Trump day one. But yeah, that's the goal, but we'll have to see what he does if he's going to continue to go along with this. But then it continues. The decision is a significant loss for Trump, who wants to use the law to speed deportations and avoid the kind of review normally required. Blah, blah. They're talking about due process here. I won't even read this because this is literally what they're saying. Avoid the kind of review normally required before removing people from the country. So they're talking about due process, but they're not telling you that these people entered the country illegally, skipping due process. So they don't, if you're in here illegally, you don't get due process. That's the point. You have to be legal to get due process. So all of this stuff that you hear on the news about due process is complete bunk. It does not apply to the vast majority of these people. The justices sent the case at issue back to an appeals court to decide the underlying question in the case, including whether the president's move is legal, blah, blah, blah. Two conservative judges, Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito, publicly noted their dissent. And yeah, Alito and Thomas are always based, so like that's not a surprise. I don't even want to say it, but yeah, like people have talked in the past of like how Trump could get around the Supreme Court issue, and like I said, since we're in a banana republic situation now, and that now also we are 13 minutes into the video, if Trump wanted to really be serious about this, he could just pack the courts. That's what he could do. It's a way around this. Again, there's the argument, oh, but if Trump does it, the Democrats will do it. The Democrats will do it anyway. That's what people need to realize. No matter what we do, they're going to do it anyway. So, anyway. Hopefully Republicans are learning this, but it's still taking time because the boomer mindset of checks and balances, like they're acting like we operate in this. I mean, this kind of goes into the God video in a way. Like the Constitution has been deified in the modern day. Like since we don't have God anymore, the Constitution is the country's God, and people literally talk about it as such. Like they literally talk about the Constitution like it's infallible. Like we cannot ignore the Constitution. All that does is that hamstrings the Republicans. The Democrats are already atheists, you could say, with using the metaphor. They don't believe in the Constitution, so they don't care. They're going to do it anyway. You are the one being held back by your own rules while they burn the country around you. So, something to consider about this. Like when I'm saying these things, it's not that radical to think about, because they're going to do it anyway. And so, yeah, this is really just a bunch of gobbledygook. I thought I was going to read more, but it's just going over all the legalese of this. It's talking about, let's go over it, because it's talking about this, this specific judge, James Hendricks. And I don't know. Let's Google this guy. Sorry, this is more than I thought I was going to do. because I want to see if this is a Biden appointee. I don't actually know how long this guy's been in. Okay, so he assumed office in 2019. It says the court's unassigned opinion was notably pointed out how the government was attempting to handle the removals and also how has dealt. Okay, I guess James Hendricks is actually on Trump's side, so my bad. The court referenced another case that had reached it previously, that of Maryland man, blah blah blah, who was mistakenly removed to El Salvador. Okay, this is all. This doesn't need to really be read. This video will be like 40 minutes, and it doesn't need to be 40 minutes. Again, I'll link this down below. You guys can read it. I mean, this is actually a really long article, so they're gonna go over all the things that have happened, and I could give you all the particular cases. Like I said, I've been holding off on making this video because there's been like MS-13 members that they've tried to come back, right? There was like that instance where Steve Miller and Trump sent the plane to El Salvador. They tried to get it to turn around, and Bukele said, no, we're keeping it. But there's been a lot of developments already within this topic, but I haven't made a video yet because I kind of want, it's kind of how I am with videos. Like I said, I don't want to make slop. I want to kind of like wait till things develop and then make video. When football starts, maybe I'll start making slop again, because that's what football is. But for stuff that matters, right, for the concerns of our civilization, I'll be being a lot more thoughtful about it. But essentially, that's what it is, okay? We're trapped in a dialectic right now where we know what the issues are. Too many immigrants. There are too many people in the country. I mean, let's see how much people live in America right now. I haven't checked recently, but I want to say it's 380 million. It's insane. Okay, it's 340 million, so I was a little off, but you need to take about 50 to 60 million of those people away, right? A nice 280 million, I could deal with that. But this is all absolutely insane. You look at the chart here. Crap, I lost the chart. Yeah, you look at the chart here and it shows, yeah, it literally shows it. From 2020. I mean, this, again, this is Google, so you can never fully trust it. But I mean, you just go down this line. Let's just go down to 2000. In the year 2000, there was 282 million. So that was 20 years ago. Put that into perspective. So 20 years ago, what I just said, right? What I just said, nice 280. So that's 60 million gone. That was just 20 years ago. You go all the way back to 1940. Well, we'll just go to 1960. Yeah, 1960. Let's see. Yeah, 1960, there was 180 million. So 1960, just so you guys know, that was like before they like opened the floodgates to immigration, essentially. That was when like the boomers started seizing political power. They were very young at that time, but you know, that was a... So we had 180 million in 1960, then we go up to 1980 and it's 226 million. So you see how fast, from 1960 to 180 million to now, 340 million. And then if you're seeing, you guys can't see this chart, but it's just like a flat line before 1960. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's where we're at. I don't know why I went on that huge digress, but the point I'm trying to make here with this, and I don't know when I'll make another immigration video, because I kind of bring it up in every video in some kind of way, like anytime I'm talking politics. But it's the #1 issue facing the country right now, because if you don't fix this, then you can't fix anything. You can't fix the money, you can't fix the women, you certainly can't fix the housing crisis. You're never going to fix the men. There's a huge motivation crisis with men right now, largely due to women, but right, if the men can't make any money because they're competing with somebody from Bangladeshi, then they can't get the women, because the women want, you know, that's what women want. They want to be provided for. So this is, as far as the country goes, right? I've said in the past, and I still believe this, I think women are the fundamental issue overall for like our civilization. But we can't even begin to discuss a civilization until we actually have a nation. And so the only way to do that is you have to start deporting. And another thing that I guess I'll bring up in this video is he started bringing in South African farmers. Now that's great. You're bringing in those people because they actually know how to farm and they will assimilate. Again, I don't want to get too deep into the race stuff because of YouTube, but it's basically that simple. You bring in people of your race, they will assimilate to your race better than people not of your race. You guys probably understand this concept. Black people, Mexican people, pretty much Asian people, pretty much any race but white people will admit this openly. So what I'm saying is not controversial. And so yeah, the fundamental issue here is that if Trump doesn't do these deportations, I'm not saying they'll never get done, because I haven't made a video about this yet, about I'm kind of white-pilled for the future, because I think politicians are going to get so radical once the boomers are gone that this might fall into my planned video series that I'm coming up with right now, where I'm going to cover the last stuff. I don't know if it's going to be 3 or 4 videos, because I'm deciding if I want to put Gen X and Millennials in the same generation. But I want to make like a video for each generation to kind of go over, like leading up to this. And a lot of that's because I've been reading this book called The Generation Myth. It's been like very interesting to read that, but yeah, we're the white pill is that I think that politics will get much more radical post-boomer, but that could, like I've said, that could be 15 years minimum, but like up to 20 years before any of that happens, you know, because boomers are, you know, they're getting old, but they've still got time. I mean, the oldest boomers are getting old, but there's a whole bunch of younger boomers that are like barely in their 60s, right? Like they could live another 20 years. So as of now, if Trump doesn't do this, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for the next like 20 years. And you know, I just went over that line, right? I just went over that line, how like 60 million people came in 20 years. That will probably be double. You could take 60, so 100, like we'll just say roughly 120 comes in. So that would put the number up to 420 million people in America. That is possible if they don't stop this. And it also brings into question like the job market, all this stuff. Like all this stuff is just going to collapse if they don't address this. Like you cannot bring in unskilled labor to just plug in holes. Again, this is what Trump's trying to do long term, to his great credit. I've made videos criticizing the tariffs only because I don't think that it's a short term solution, but like long term, bringing manufacturing back to America is a good goal. But you cannot do that until you get rid of the immigrants and you start incentivizing the citizens. And maybe I'll make a separate video on this when it comes out. The big, beautiful bill. I don't know what's in that. He's talking about a lot of tax cuts, so that could be good. But I'm not going to make anything on that until I see what it is. But yeah, guys, that's kind of the video here I'm trying to get across. And if you guys have watched this long, thank you so much. Again, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comment down below. But we are at a civilizational Rubicon fork in the road moment here. And we were kind of here in 2020, but it's like you can't keep kicking this down the road. This can has been kicked so far down the road that it's about to go off a cliff. So I don't know what he's going to do. Like I said, there's many ways around this. He could just ignore the judges. That's another option. He could pack the courts. He has been arresting certain judges, but this all is taking too long, right? Like if he's going to follow the rules of the 4-year term, he doesn't have time for this. He needs to start doing it now. And so we'll have to see. Like I said, I'm making this video on the 16th by the time you guys watch this, because I've got these in the pipe now. I'm getting in a rhythm. I've got these in the pipe for like weeks ahead. I think I think my last video is scheduled to come out on the 31st. So yeah, I'm like, maybe I should slow down. I don't know, but I don't really care because, like I said, I'm not trying to make slop. Like, you can watch this at any time, and you can kind of like, you can at least get the overall message I'm making here, which is that this immigration thing is an issue. It's been an issue our entire lives, especially if you're a millennial. You know what I'm talking about. This has always been an issue. It is now time to address the issue. And the question is, will he address it? And that's how I'm going to leave the video. So, will Dawn cross the Rubicon? I mean, that's a great title. It's a great title. I think I'm going to title the video, Will Dawn Cross the Rubicon? And yeah, with that, guys, that is the video. Like I said, I will link the article. I apologize for not reading it, but I'm not going to bore you guys with CNN articles. Like I said, you can even read this with what I've talked about in the past. It's just a bunch of fluffy buzzwords, orange man bad garbage. We all know, if anyone that's paying attention, we know what's going on here. We know what needs to be done and get it done. So that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all later.